Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. This week, we're going to talk about what your expectations are for Star Citizen 3.7. But obviously, I have to preface this with I'm in Evocati. Now, I haven't played any Evocati patches because every Sunday's like the start of my weekend where I get to enjoy playing more games and stuff like that. So I have no Evocati experience. I haven't even looked at the patch notes, nothing. But obviously, like with every Evocati patch, I think CIG just now expects there to be leaks. So I keep seeing certain topics being sort of discussed in Discord and stuff like that. So I want to hear your expectations, but obviously anybody that does call in or uses hashtag ATC17 on Twitter, because I think we'll have to go to those since I don't think too many people are calling in, which kind of tells me the answer to today's topic about what their expectations are for 3.7. But I'm going to start out with mine. Call me stupid, okay? But my expectations are very high for this episode. Or for this patch, excuse me. They're very low for this episode because I currently only have one caller in the list. But hopefully as we go through our little monologue here, like always, a few more people call in. My expectations are quite high, and maybe I'm dumb. But looking at the roadmap, I think some of the key features are the mission sharing. So I'm curious how that's going to go, and being able to play more with friends. My expectations for, or what I've wanted to do in Star Citizen leading up to today is play the game and the game's mechanics with my friends. I think you see a lot of cool things like ops with Rexzilla and Detox, and I think Astropub's starting to do it now. I think everybody's doing them a little bit because they do seem to be quite fun. But what I've always wanted from Star Citizen is the like actually playing and progressing in the game with my group of friends that I play with, right? And I think a lot of people want to do that as well. And I think the first kind of really important step to that will be this like mission sharing thing. Caves looks really cool. My expectations for caves are quite low though. I don't think any FPS mining, salvaging, or anything like that, I don't expect to make a lot of money with it, even though in this week's Inside Star Citizen, Dan Truffin said, you know, the things you get are really valuable, but then the prices they showed on screen are hopefully temporary then, because if they're really valuable, the 5 or 6 of them that he picked up there were going to be a few hundred credits, right? So the amount of time invested versus the amount of money you make, I didn't see it from that video, so the fact of trying to find a cave, which is not going to be it's not like scannable, so you have to actually find it with your eyes and then go in there and mine it and then bring it back and then sell it. Is it actually going to be worth your time? I'm not sure. So from everything I've seen, I don't think it's going to be. So then my excitement for caves because of that gets brought down significantly, because how many times can you go in a cave and expect to have a different experience in 3.7, right? How many times can you go in a cave and expect to have a different experience a year from now, 2 years from now, however long it takes them to iterate on the development of caves? It's probably going to be quite high then, and it will be really exciting. So my long-term expectations for caves is really high. My 3.7 expectations for caves are actually quite low, because I think they're going to get kind of boring, and they should be relatively difficult to find, maybe, right? So I'm not too excited for those. AI improvements, I don't have any expectations for those, because we usually see server issues cause AI to suck. Therefore, I don't have any expectations for server issues to go away. Therefore, AI is always going to be shit, I feel like. And then it's going to have other problems down the line that are going to cause other game mechanics to be broken later on in the patch, like we've experienced with mining and bounty hunting and the like in 3.6.2 and all throughout 3.6 actually. So I think my really, really high expectations are on that mission system. I'm really curious to see what happens with that, but I do think doing like little mining things with your like the one really cool feature with mining and the FPS mining, which is quite exciting, is the asteroid mining. That when you find an asteroid that you like in a prospector, it can also have little FPS mining nodes around it. So you bring other people with you on your ship, and they mine the little FPS nodes, and then you mine the asteroid. And it's kind of like turning a solo experience into a group experience, or a more in-depth solo experience, which is pretty cool. So the only other thing I would say that my expectations are high for is actually, correct me if I'm wrong, the Banu Defender comes into this patch, right? My expectations are quite high for that because of the last thing they've shown about it. The interior design looks really, really cool. I usually don't get excited for ships, but this ship is sort of exciting because it's the first Banu ship. So it's our first look inside what the Banu style is, and I'm kind of excited for that. But I don't know, I can't remember if the Banu is for 3.7 or for 3.8 anymore. So I might be wrong about that one. But yeah. I guess Harvestables is cool too, but it's going to be a very tier 0 experience, so my expectations are quite low for that as well. Just kind of walking around, picking up an item, and putting it in your inventory. It's exciting to see progress in that direction, but it's not anything to really get excited about. So anyway, we do have a little bit of a queue now, which is nice. But our first caller is a very, very special caller today. And the reason it's special is he's the guy that makes Answer the Call work. And it's Sunday of Doom. He's basically our Answer the Call moderator. So a very special thank you to you, Sunday. So thank you for all the things you do for Answer the Call. He manages the Discord, checks all of you guys. If you ever called in, you've definitely spoken to Sunday of Doom before. And yeah, so if anybody watches and enjoys Answer the Call, make sure you take the time out if you're watching on YouTube to leave a comment, or if you're watching live to say something in Twitch chat. But Sunday, we'll start out with what your expectations are with 3.7. You're welcome. But thank you. You know, I want to hear what your expectations are with 3.7 first, but then I know you do want to talk a little bit more about the rental system, which is something I don't believe in at all. So we'll discuss a bit about that. But go ahead.
Well, I have pretty low expectations. Basically, I have no real feeling like anything that's coming out of it will give me any urge to really. Besides, maybe the Harvestables.
Okay.
Maybe that will actually give me the urge to kind of go back to playing it, because right now I'm just playing other games.
There we go. Sorry, I had a weird screen up. So you have low expectations. You don't really plan on playing. Do you think we're gonna have similar experiences to 3.5 and 3.6, where they were just like a incredibly broken mess, or do you have higher expectations than what 3.5 and 3.6 gave us?
No, I have higher. I think they'll do better. I think it'll actually be something. I mean, it has to be something, right?
No, it doesn't, because we said that about 3.5 and 3.6 too, right?
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I think like if you want people to come back to, instead of being just the skeleton shift that it is these days, you kind of need it to work at least. Even if the new mechanics don't work, at least have it playable enough to actually be able to go on every day.
Yeah.
That'd be my expectation.
They have to start moving in that direction, and I think this is the first patch that might. But I had that expectation for 3.5 and 3.6 as well, and their lack of time management, I guess, caused those two patches to be incredibly problematic. Where this
Mhm.
patch, they seem to say their time management is up to snuff, but we'll see. So, we just got Evocati the other day, and it's got to go to wider PTU by midweek, I would say, in order to get the testing and everything kind of stabilized for a live patch by the end of. I guess it would have to be. It could be on Monday or Tuesday of next week. Like maybe it'll fall on the 1st of
Mhm.
October, but yeah. I don't know, man. They got a whole
Other
week
than that,
basically.
oh, sorry.
Yeah. But all right, so you have something to say about rentals, but let me I guess preface it with my thoughts and why we had a discussion
Mhm.
on Twitch while I was streaming about it earlier, and people got pretty heated about the topic. I don't believe rentals should be in the game at all. I think the problem with rentals is that they're impossible to balance, and you're either always going to rent because the value is too good, or you're never going to rent because the prices are too expensive. And again, if anybody wants to call in about rentals, I'm totally fine discussing those. But let's always start out with your expectations for 3.7 first. And again, no leaks of what the rental prices are in 3.7 because that's not what we're going to do here. We're just discussing overall, and I want to go from a much longer term thought process on it, not what the game is now, because a lot of the discussion will probably start out with, well, you can't earn the ships in game, the wipes, the wipes, the wipes, right? Guys, the wipes aren't going to be there long term, but long term rentals will be. So that's the issue that I have with here is that I think you're creating like work for a dev that shouldn't be there because they're gonna have to constantly be saying, okay, a prospector makes this much per hour, and the average player plays this many hours per day. Therefore, the rentals should be around here, and that should work. And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But it's kind of interesting. But then I asked a question earlier, and I think this is where Sunday you're gonna go. Is
Mhm.
can I just rent an excavator, or do I need some kind of like license to use it? And everybody kind of told me that you could just rent an excavator in the United States and just fucking start digging holes in places if you want. Apparently, I wasn't aware
Well,
of this, but yeah,
in Canada too.
yeah. So, what are your thoughts on rentals, and why did you call in today? Basically, I know it was basically about this topic.
Mhm. Well, this actually, I guess this would be an expectation too, because what I expect rentals will do is fill a gap in the market that it does in real life, which is there are times when you need equipment, but you don't want to buy it outright because, well, you're not going to use it every single day, and
Mm-hmm.
there's even times where you might use it every day, but you can't afford a full price of it
Yeah.
yet. And so, but over time, if you did use it every day, you'd be spending more than what you would actually do if you bought it outright. But because you're a small business, you can't actually afford to buy it outright yet.
Yeah.
So, in terms of like a background for my family, my dad is a freelancer, designer, and manager for like for projects, right? And
Construction
he designs,
projects.
yeah,
Okay.
basically, though more on the lighting side.
Okay.
So all in lighting and controls. So there are times when the companies that he will work for, they need to have a spider lift
Mm-hmm.
or some kind of lift to get to highest part of the ceilings. So they could buy one outright because they do use spider lifts often, but not often enough that it really is worth it because there might be like several months where they don't have to use it.
Gotcha.
And those and also like they have to worry about the supply and demand and transit of those, say, like the spider lift,
Mm-hmm.
because that's also one reason why I think it would work out in Star Citizen is, well, they don't always, not everyone will have the equipment you need. There's going to be demand for it,
Yeah.
and people will need to buy it to actually supply it, right?
Yeah.
But not just that, you need to have them deliver it to you. So, or you have to pick it up. So there's the transit issue. See, if you bought it outright, you have it any time you want it. You have it uh, you could take it anywhere you want. But in the real world, you have to actually schedule it, unless they literally have it on the lot for you.
Yeah.
So you have to schedule it like the the bid. You have to say, okay, I'm going to be getting a spider lift, and I'm going to actually need to uh, get it ready for 31st of October or something like that. And they'll say, okay, we'll put you down there, or they'll say, oh, sorry, there's already a another company that is going to rent this. So there's supply, demand, and transit that kind of balances out why you would want to buy later on over, but you might need to rent it now, right?
Well, apply that to Star Citizen then.
Well, okay. For example, say you are an explorer and you find the mother lode of whatever is the rarest sought after mineral at the time for trading. And you go, well, I don't really want to be a miner. I don't want to buy a prospector because I don't usually go mining.
But you like money.
Yeah, you want to corner the market. Like, why would I send this to like get Torque Corp to do it when I can literally get myself, like, it's not a big enough, it's a mother lode, like, as in it's rare, but it's small enough for like a 1-person operation or maybe a 2-person operation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out, I'm going to go to Zeus and Noxia and go, hey man, you got a prospector, right? Yeah, I got a prospector in his Romanian accent. and then he'll say, I'll go, well, I want to rent out that prospector from you. Okay, well, I'll give it to you for whatever, like 10,000, 2,000, 20,000 credits or something like that.
Yeah, but we're not talking about renting it from a player. We're talking about renting it from the game, because and that's fine. Just don't use him as an example, because
okay, well,
you're renting it from the game, because I think its intention is to have a gold sync intention where it's just like in real life. It's way more expensive to rent something than it, like, per day, than it would be to buy it outright, right? Same with leases, all that stuff. Like, it obviously doesn't make financial sense to do it, but from a monthly or daily purchase, especially if you're only going to use something one time, it makes sense.
Yeah, and so say there's a good deal somewhere like nearby, or maybe two jump points down to get a prospector for a good price. Well, I'm going to go to that place or ask them to deliver it to me, or nearby, away from the mother load so they don't see it. And they'll deliver it, or I go to get it, and I'll use it, mine it, and then I've cornered the market on this rare resource and made money off of it.
Yeah.
So that's one example. Another example would be, what if you're a small business where you know a good place to mine, or a good place to you got some good farmland, right? Or like, for example, for harvestables or something like that, or if you had to use equipment or something like that. Well, as a small business, you want to get yourself going. So what you do is you rent first, just like taxi cabs. They'll rent it off from the taxi company, and then they'll buy it later on when they have enough money. Same with other companies as well. So that's another idea about it. And another reason why you'd want to buy over renting is customization. When you rent something, you need to keep it in the similar condition as you have rented it, as like when you picked it up off the lot, or when they delivered it to you. So you wouldn't be able to customize it. You wouldn't be able to add the legal mods. You wouldn't be able to add your own customized mods to any of the ships. So I think renting has its place, just like it does in the real world.
Okay.
When it comes to filling a gap in demand where it's like buying it outright is not feasible.
I guess there was a bigger gap between not owning it and owning it. Like, I didn't quite. Yeah, you make some good points here, and maybe this will make it difficult for some of the next callers, because I'm sort of changing my tune a little bit already, which I usually do later on. But yeah, it seems like there's a bigger, like, there's a market for rentals. It still doesn't change the fact that I think it's going to be incredibly difficult to balance both ship prices versus ship rental prices and so on. I wonder how a company like Enterprise does it? And do they get the ships at a discounted price? And or not the ships, but like Enterprise obviously would be cars. So it's do they get it at a discounted price, and that's why they're able to rent you a car for $40 a day or whatever? What is $40 a day over even like a lease time would add up to? So there's what's 40 times 30 basically? Is that what a lease for that car would add up to, and so on and so forth? So it's I didn't actually like run those kind of numbers and how it relates to cars, but there's the whole other factor, which, well, it's not the other factor because you mentioned it as well, is if you've flown to another system, how the game works now is all of your ships are in this like magical space where they could just appear in any space station as long as you've never taken them out yet before. I don't think that's going to be a thing long term, obviously, right? So your location versus what you have at that location really matters, right?
Yeah, supply and demand.
Yeah. So
well, it's the same with the buying, right? Where the idea that Tony was always proposing was that, and same with CR, would be that you literally had to buy, or they have to buy the components, they have to buy the materials to build the ships, and then they have to ship the ship to you or the materials to the factory. Then the factory has to ship. You know what I mean? It's all about supply and demand. And what if in that system, well, there's no prospector. You're that explorer, and you're like, shit, I have to go 3 jump points down to get a prospector. You also have to deal with the transit, right? And so that kind of balances it out too. Like you have to maybe go looking around, and like, shit, man, I'd rather just buy a prospector at that point.
Yeah.
If you have to spend more time to actually look for it, wasting the money, and then someone comes by and steals it from you. So that's also why I kind of hope that the player rental stuff happens later on. This is just like because I would rather buy it from like TurkCorp, or like rent it from TurkCorp rather.
And I mean, I need this that's prospector. A curious thing, like what's going to happen with like once orgs come in, are people even going to be renting ships anyway, or are they just going to be joining orgs that loan out ships? But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add before I bring the next caller in?
Just supply and demand. That's all I was thinking. Supply, demand, transit time.
This isn't the first time you've called, right? I think it's the second. In like all this time.
I think the second.
I think it's the second. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for calling, and thank you for everything you do for the channel and stuff. I really appreciate it. Again, Sunday is one of my moderators, and he's the one that has really like taken answer the call and put it under his wing and handles a lot of the stuff. So Zeus is covering for him right now while he's on the call and making sure everything's going. So claps in Twitch chat and hopefully some comments for Sunday on the YouTube video. So yeah, Zeus, you have to call in next week, okay? All right. So I'm gonna bring in Pepsi now, Sunday. Thanks, man.
Later, bud.
Later, dude.
Bye.
That was a really good call. That changed my thought process on it pretty quickly. Hopefully this changed. Yes. All right. Pepsi. Welcome, Pepsi. How you doing, man?
Hello. I'm doing fine.
I gotta turn you up just a bit. Is this your first time calling Answer the Call?
Yeah, it is.
All right, cool. So, what are your thoughts? What are your expectations? Let's always start out with expectations on 3.7 first. Just overall expectations, and then I feel like if you want to get into the rental discussion, since a lot of people started jumping in the call once we started talking about that, I imagine that might be
a little bit on that.
You want to touch on it. So, all right. So, what are your thoughts about 3.7?
I have some decent expectations with the new ships, obviously, and the Bond and Defender. But
okay,
I'll come back to the Defender. But there are a lot of things. Let me just check up all I have the list here. And what I'm most interested in is like the caves, of course, like that everyone is hyped about.
Yeah, the initial expectations are super high, right? The first time you go there, what the video we've seen, everything, it looks really cool, and it's just another wrinkle to add to the planets and moons to make them feel more alive and less boring. Super exciting.
Yeah, and the part where people are complaining about like there's so few and the FPS mining aspect of it, walking in there, I kind of get it because if like what we saw on Inside Star Citizen with all the FPS mining and how little the gems were worth compared to the time and the effort you have to put into it,
Yeah.
compared to just grabbing a prospector, heading to an asteroid field and just mining laterite and terranite for an hour or two, it's pretty bad, like value wise per hour.
Yeah. I'm hoping
But
those were just temporary numbers, but I don't know.
yeah,
And again,
that's what I'm hoping as well.
Please no leaks just in case. You know?
Yeah, no leaks. And as you said, that it's probably is just temporary numbers because considering the amount of effort you have to put into it, it should honestly be way higher. Like
Yeah.
real life diamonds, basically.
Yeah.
It takes effort and like skill basically to find the diamonds. You need to know where they are. There's a lot of work to find. Same with gold. You don't find large chunks of it. You find small like flakes of it.
And like the diamonds that I gave Emmy for our engagement, I can't believe what like it's a family heirloom, but my family also gave me what the value of it was in like 1970 or whatever when my father gave it to my mom, and it's mind-blowing how much that is. You know, so I expect that to kind of, obviously diamonds are diamonds. Now other gems are not as valuable as a diamond would be, but I hope that one of these gems that we're finding are diamonds, right? Like diamond value, because they obviously had all weird different names when we have diamonds in the game.
Yeah, we already have,
and they're not quite valuable.
Yeah, no, they're cheap as shit.
Yeah. So I'm with you on that. I feel like the value of that, it doesn't seem quite right, but it comes down to how rare they are, how often you find them, so on.
It's supply and demand.
Yeah, but it's also
more or less.
We still haven't seen how the inventory system actually works, because we watched like the rock break. There's 5 of them on the ground, and then the first time we saw it, there was the circular menu.
Yeah, the wheel, the spin wheel.
So the first time we ever saw the wheel, they had 3 or at least 2 of the same material in the wheel, as if the one wheel slot represented one physical item that you picked up. This next time that we watched ISC, it seemed that they've changed the tune a little bit, and they had micro SCU values, which was 1,000 micro SC units is 1 SCU, or is 1 unit, and then 100 units is 1 SCU unit. So I think that's what was correct. I would have to look at it and confirm like 100% sure. But how it looks now on the wheel is, as you gather, the different types of mineral or gem or whatever that you find fill one of those inventory slots, and the inventory slot has like a weight to it, and that's the micro unit. And it had a pretty big amount of weight. Like I can put multiple gems into one pocket. So if that's possible, then you going around, like the caves look pretty big. If you go into the caves and find lots of these little rock locations, then it's a lot easier than scanning for something of value in an asteroid field or on a moon. See what I'm saying? So it could be, even with the prices that we saw, quite valuable.
Yeah, it depends on how much space, as you said, they take in your inventory.
Which we really don't know.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. Like, how much does a single unit take? Like a single piece, does it take 10? Does it take 900? We don't know until we see it.
That's actually probably the thing I'm most excited about. Now that I think about it, is like this inventory management thing.
Yeah. What I'm also a bit worried about is the armor and weapon inventory, because people really do not want to have to go back and forth, to grab a single piece of armor if they want to change from heavy to medium. It's just going to be incredibly time consuming. So they really need to like add or give us some way of just storing armor on ships or
Oh
like in a
yeah,
ship inventory.
that's gonna
'Cause,
happen. I think that's the start. Like this is the start of that, and this is getting
yeah,
off of like what the topic is today. So just I guess we'll try and move on
steer
from
back.
this as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that this is the steps moving into that direction. I mean, we saw it in the Squadron 42 vertical slice that they went to a like a locker and changed their outfit. And there's lockers on
Yeah.
our ships, you know. So I feel like that's kind of what that's going to be. Is everything's going to be physicalized in the game. I wouldn't stress out about that.
Yeah, like in the new Wardens, like the new inside of it, you
Mhm.
have like the pull-out locker, the one that
Yeah.
collapses it. That's like a good size. You can fit an armor set in there, so that's probably what they built that one for,
Yeah.
including like other stuff like weapons and that. And on the Wardens, the thing I'm like kind of like not really like liking by looking at the current like the way that made it new Wardens, especially the Bomber, the Harbinger,
Mhm.
is on the concept you have like these big ass rocket turret on top. You got like its own single unit. It's not like two separate pods like you have on the actual ship now.
Yeah.
What I don't like is that is literally just the Mustang Delta pods, just two of them on each side of the turret. So I think they kind of went lazy on that one. So I'm hoping that that was just temporary when they showed it off, and that they're doing something else with it.
Maybe, or they just couldn't get it to work, or you know, there's. I feel
Technical
like they mentioned
difficulties.
it on Star Citizen Live, but it's escaping me what happened with that. But I don't think the Vanguards don't excite me. Um, the Banu does just because I'm interested in what it looks like, but yeah. Oh, they said it was
Yeah.
temporary. Okay, Twitch chat saying that that's temporary. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, that solves
Yeah, that's good.
your issue there. What about
Yeah.
rentals?
Uh, I I kind of get that it's way expensive compared to what people thought it would be,
Well,
but
remember that's now we're getting into leak territory. So just be careful. Don't say it's
yeah,
too expensive or
but
whatever, because that means that you know numbers that you shouldn't know at the moment.
yeah, and what I think is like they further on into the release, like not bringing in the numbers, but
Yeah.
they need to balance it by how much money people make, as you said, with the ship per hour. Not like, oh, you get like 10% back if you just min max it to the
Yeah.
highest level. You need to like get a good balance on it, but it's kind of hard this early when it's not even implemented fully yet.
Yeah.
So
That's why
you,
I don't see the point right now, and I'm not sure I see the point long term, because then you have to have a dev sitting there every single patch figuring out like what the meta is and saying, oh well, the Caterpillar can earn way more now, so now the Caterpillar renter prices need to be high. And it's just, I don't know, man. It seems like it's worth it's more work than it's worth.
yeah, they could like wait out a bit of it, like on the rental,
Yeah.
honestly. But there are a lot of people that I know that play the game. Not often. They have like maybe a freelancer and that's all they have, or a cutlass.
Yeah.
But they want to try another ship
Yeah, like mining.
just to see how it is. Yeah, like mining, especially a lot of people want to try out the prospector, but they don't want to buy it, like because they don't see the other like they only will have one ship and they don't want to have just a fucking miner. So
You know what they could have done?
they,
This is the shit that pisses me off. Is it seems like the or not the expectations, but the priorities sometimes don't make sense, or they do make sense in terms of ship sales, but they don't make sense in terms of making a good game as quickly as possible. Where your friends are probably in the same org as you, or they would be if the org mechanics were put into the game. Like, oh, you're in the same org as me. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can lend you my ship for a certain period of time by just typing a few things into a menu. I still own the ship. I'll get it back. It'll be returned to me in 10 days, 5 days, 1 day, whatever you determine. So if they actually, prioritized what was important for the game to be good, then they would have a rental system, but it would be involved in what the org system would be. And you would just lend the ship to your friend, and they would be able to play, and it would be fine. Like, I get the point of rentals, and I get why people wanted them so bad now, which is why they're putting them in now, is because of the wipes, right? It's because nobody can enjoy gameplay without having to earn it forever in the game. But if you just join any org, there's people who have more ships than they know what to do with in all of these orgs, and they would just lend them out to people and let them enjoy the game that way. But that wouldn't make sense for them to sell spaceships. Therefore, everything has to make sense.
It's not
in the value of renting needs to make you want to buy the ship in game. Buying ship in game needs to make you want to buy the ship for real money.
Like
in some way, shape, or form, and that's what sucks.
We already have like player-to-player interaction with the whole beacons and combat assists.
Yeah.
If they did that, as you said, with ships, they could just post up on the board, just like prospector for rent 2 days, this much, and they just click rent, like accept rent.
Yeah.
And then they can just go and get the ship from like whatever port it's stationed at. But as you said, they need to make money from from the ship sales.
And I'm not like,
so that's kind of,
I'm not shitting on them for it, because
no, they need to make money.
They need to make money. We're all aware of that,
It's a business,
and I want them to make.
That's how it is.
Yeah. But at the same time, I want them to continue to make a game too, right? So it's a catch-22 for them, and they'll always be in this catch-22 spot, because that's the spot they put them in, selling spaceships. So it's just it kind of is what it is, and it makes rentals weird, because if rentals were worth it, then it would be it would be what everybody did. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, Pebsy. Is there anything else you want to add before I bring in the next one?
Arena Commander. I want to touch a little bit on that.
Go for it.
Like, if I don't know if you've played most like recently in Pirate Swarm.
I played this week.
The AI. Yeah, you probably got the jitters or the Parkinson's earthquake.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they've talked anything about that, but that was like, they need to fix that, because it's not like enjoyable to play Pirate Swarm.
Yeah.
I know it's an alpha, of course, but you should be allowed to have a little bit of fun in the game.
Agree.
And when you can't fly straight in a straight line and hit anything,
when you need gimbal assist just to play the game,
that's a
problem. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a problem. Like, most of my ships, like say the Saber Raven, or my like size 3 turret fucking arrow, nothing hits. You have to use gimbals.
Yeah.
And the gimbal meta, it needs to, I hope it's changed now in 3.7, but I don't have any high hopes, because there's not really mentioned a lot in the Inside Star Citizen or in the patches.
Well, let me stop you there. And since you mentioned Arena Commander, there's also like this Star Marine map, and
the new map, and
so do you think there's value in them still working on things like Star Marine and Arena Commander when there's really no incentive to play it right now?
There is a bit of value in they can take data from the dogfighting in Arena Commander, because you get right into the action. You go ship to ship. You can also take the info you get from Star Marine when you can improve the FPS gunplay and the gameplay itself by looking at what is wrong, basically, in this mode. Like, what could be fixed, like the whole spamming control until you pass out, or the heart attack bug, which often like happens to me, at least in Arena Commander, and the whole ship attachment, the gun attachments, and the guns themselves, like balancing them out.
Yeah, but here's
Because you have-
my issue with it, and a lot of people are kind of saying the same things in chat. Like, of course, there's value to Star Marine and Arena Commander because you can find out these things. They need to nail down the flight model and ship combat and so on and so forth. But nobody plays. Nobody plays either game. Anytime I've ever jumped in, I've never gotten a match. So shouldn't... I guess what I'm asking is, shouldn't they create some sort of incentive to play the games first and then start working on iterating them?
Increase like their rewards. Yeah, as you said, they could increase the rewards from like rental equipment credits, the rec, because you need to spend like 100 hours to rent like a good ship, say like a Warden, a Saber, or like a bigger ship like the Andromeda. Like you have to spend a lot of time to earn that credit.
Yeah.
More than it's really worth for a 3-day rental.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I see that there's no incentive. I would love to see just Arena Commander and Star Marine only like skins or whatever. Some stupid stuff that you can just earn them in there. Maybe you can bring them into the PU, and then there's a reason to actually play. And then they'll get... Then you get the not server-side OCS requirement to be able to play with ship combat, or, you know, maybe that you see where I'm going with it is it might be a little bit easier to test in those environments, which was the reason for them in the first place. But now, since there's no incentive to play them, nobody does, and now you're wasting... They're just wasted
dev
space,
time.
I feel like. Yeah. And then anybody who's working on it seems like wasted dev time to me. But yeah, I think we're getting
like,
a bit like, we're on topic, but we're off topic. Yeah. Go
we're
ahead.
Kind of like in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. This whole game feels like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of like curious of the proximity assist.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm not entirely down on. Was it a complete replacement of hover mode, or was it?
Yes,
just like
because
additive?
your ships don't fly like a helicopter anymore, right? So it is, but it isn't. Like, hover mode was meant to make landing and being around the surface on moons and planets to seem more realistic and be smoother, because it was very jerky before. But the current iteration of hover mode in 3.6 didn't deliver on that. So, and the reasons that they gave was because the way they've built the game up to this point, hover mode doesn't interact with everything they built very well. So it's not a simple just have the ship still fly this way, but tweak it a little bit. It wasn't a simple tweak. They kind of had to change it from that helicopter style to just smoothing out the flight and then forcing you to stay level, which is was the discussion on that. So I don't know, what are your expectations knowing that about it?
I'm hoping I don't like suddenly just kick it into combat speed and ram into a wall or like a landing pad. I'm hoping
you could toggle it, so maybe that'll happen, but if you're smart about it, it should be easier, how I understand.
Yeah, I'm hoping it will give you like a better option, especially for bunker missions. That it'll be easier to take out the turrets, because if you had a Cutlass or a larger ship and you try to take out those turrets, it was near impossible.
Yep.
You would tilt forward and you'd go flying into the building, or you'd crash or explode.
Yeah.
So you had to like do passes over and over again and just do a little bit of damage. A little bit of damage. It would take ages. So hopefully now you can actually like strafe it and get a good amount of time on target before you have to like pull up.
Okay.
But on the
go ahead.
The Defender, just the last topic I'm just gonna put on. I'm not entirely like sure it's gonna be 3.7, considering it's 30 out of 52 tasks.
Okay.
But I'm guessing a 3.7.x, similar to that of the 890 jump.
Because ships aren't important for patches anymore.
Yeah, they're just a drive for people to buy them, more or less.
Yeah.
But like you saw with the sale with the 890 jump, they went pretty fast because it was finally in the game.
Yeah, of course. And they did a pretty bang up job on it. It looks really cool.
Yeah, the ad and everything. It's pretty cool. So
yeah. Okay, that makes
not
a lot
enough
of
to make
sense.
me want to buy it, but yeah.
No, me neither. But yeah.
That was
still,
all
still
that
cool.
is all I want to talk about, so.
Alright, Pepsi. Well, thanks for calling in. First time caller, right?
Yeah, first time.
Have you been listening to the show for a while?
I drop in every now and then when the streamers I usually watch aren't on, like
Whoa!
Captain Richard, I only watch. Like, I don't have a lot of time.
Where am I on your list of streamers that you usually watch? Where do I fall on this list?
You're like next to Admiral Baru and Lyric after Captain Richard and
all right, that's good company.
Vertigo.
That's company.
Yeah,
that's good company. Okay, all right.
Because you're not always on when I'm awake or got free time, so.
All right.
I watch whenever I can, basically.
Good save. All right, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for calling in, Pepsi.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye now. That was a good call. All right, so we have some ATC 17 tweets, so I'm going to bring those up. Hopefully this works before we bring in the next caller. Okay. We're going to do this on the fly, boys. Because this scene isn't complete, apparently. We're doing it on the fly. You're going to see how Answer the Call is made. There we go. Okay. So Mudfuckup left a tweet on hashtag ATC17 and said, I believe I have underestimated the 3.7 patch. I think there will be more in it than meets the eye. I'm just hoping that shared missions are more than just the one mission. Yeah, because the last time we heard about shared missions was Luke on Inside Star Citizen or Star Citizen Live. And the last time we heard about it is they figured out how to get it to work for one mission. But with them, I don't remember if they said that it was going to be easy to implement into other ones. So is this one mission going to be like this really expensive mission that it requires other people, and then therefore the money will get spread out and be like reasonable, like in the 3,000 to 10,000 per person range? I'm kind of curious about that too. And then we have another tweet, but I guess we'll do that in between because now we have a couple callers. So I'm gonna bring in our next caller here, who is Bad Words, and bring him in. Yeah. Welcome, Bad Words. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. So what are your expectations for 3.7? Are they high? Are they low? Are you
They're extremely high because of that mission sharing. I think everyone, it has multi-cruise ships since the start. Finally, you can play with a.
Hello?
It's finally, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can now. You just cut off for a second.
Yeah, but it's the linchpin. I think that if they don't get these shared missions, actually missions in general right now are what will kill this because of the notorious history of problems. You have, think about just kill missions. How's that going to work shared when notoriously the last hit is who gets the credit? What if your friend kills the last person? I mean, a lot of these things they never even address. Then you have just straight broken missions. Does everyone, why hasn't the pro temp mission been fixed? Things like that,
Well, they attempted a fix. Like, to be fair, I believe, did it continue through 3.5 and 3.6? Try and remind me. In 3.5, is that where the change went from find the person to go to the area and then find the person, or did that change from 3.5 to 3.6? I'm pretty sure.
in 3.5 is when it changed to go to the area.
Okay,
But
then yeah,
and
why
then
does that
the
still
person
exist? I agree then.
and then you have and then of course the payouts are also going to be the incentivize of if people mission because they want to make money. If they
Yeah.
find, even if you want to play with your friend, if it's not cost effective, then you're still going to end up playing solo, and that's the unfortunate part of this.
Yeah.
And that's going to rub people the wrong way.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
then
if we're mission sharing and we're each making like 500 credits, why the fuck would we do that?
and then one of the other big things is will the servers be able to handle it? I mean, you're talking about anytime you put two pilots together, desyncing happens. And now
Yeah.
you're talking about putting 3-4 people together on a mission. How many things can go wrong? Desyncing still an issue. Is it going to be you're going to go there with your friends and then suddenly the enemy's invincible because you're now desyncing?
Yeah. Could
So
be.
again,
Yeah.
and then my other expectation. Now, one of my things is I like that they did the caves. However, I'm starting to feel like they forgot it's a space game and space is still empty. I feel like they want go down to the planet, keep going down to the planet,
Yeah.
and I'm like I'm in a spaceship. Bring them to me up in
Yeah.
the space.
Yeah.
You know,
There's our space game is getting smaller and smaller, and our planet and moon game is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I mean, all they're doing is turning atmosphere into a time sink.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we need to stop players from clearing a mission in 50 seconds. Let's put atmosphere there so it stretches out to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'm hoping, and then of course the mining, I have a prospector and know the frustrations of making it an economical choice for making money. So at the same time, I am not quite sure if if to me mining is a clown car where one person is driving and then everyone else jumps out of the car and runs around the asteroid trying to pick things up. I feel like I'm playing Star Citizen and everyone else out of the ship is playing Minecraft, going for the diamonds and hoping they don't fall in the lava. I mean, honestly, I wish the sound effect for picking up diamonds is that tick, 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 tick.
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool to have more valuable, smaller things that would get destroyed in the normal mining process that you would need a team to help you get. I think that that's kind of cool personally, but I see where you're coming from, where it's not really mining to you, and you want it to be ship based.
Yeah, I mean, if they let us craft our diamond multi-tools after we collect all the diamonds, then that's one thing.
Well, bro, this harvestable thing, I'm telling you, there's got to be more to it than pick something up, put it in a backpack, and sell it. There's got to be something more to this that they're not telling us. Like these harvestables you find, you can recipe them into the drugs that you were going to be selling at a drug lab one day. These diamonds or these gems or whatever that you're finding are used in the creation of ship shields, weapons, components, all sorts of things like that. I just have this inkling feeling seeing this recipe system shit in previous monthly reports that somehow this ties together to some kind of crafting in this game. Even though they told us way back when that there wasn't going to be crafting, there's a lot of things that they said they weren't going to do. And I have a feeling that all these little pieces, I'm putting the puzzle together, and Illuminati confirmed there's going to be crafting. I just have a weird feeling about it.
Well, I mean, one other thing, you can inspect the rocks. They did add that feature, so there is an extra step you can.
Okay.
You can pick it up and you can look at it. There you go. Feature.
Wow. Gameplay.
But the other thing is, again, like it's saying, the sizes. One SEU is a giant box on a ship. So the idea is, to get to one SEU and you're making these little tiny boxes, are they going to make like an invisible 1 SAU like slot on all ships? Are cargo ships going
It's
to
impossible
be able
to tell. Bro,
mean,
we have seen the inventory system 3 times or twice, but in the 2 times, and one of the first time we saw it, I think we saw it in 2 different iterations. One time, okay, all right. So here's where I'll help you with this. One mission box is 0.125 SCU. So it's 12.5 units. So if the gem that you find is worth like 25 credits per unit, which is what we saw in the video, if you had, 4 units of that, or you had 12.5 units of that, it's not nothing, but it's a few hundred credits only. But then, in the same video, I saw one of the mission boxes listed at 1 out of 100. What? If it's only 12 units, was that a percentage number? What the hell's going on here? And then we know that 100 units, or 100 squares, or whatever, little unit squares, can fit in that 1 SCU box. So, when you sell off at a outpost, you're not selling SCUs, you're selling units. So, like, the Caterpillar is 56,660 units or 56,600 units. So it's super fucking confusing how this system works. So for me, it's impossible to have expectations for it.
Well, the other problem is, why did they make the smaller boxes not base 10?
Yeah.
Why a 12?
Why 12 and a half? A half a unit. What is that? You can't even use half a unit. But now I guess we can, because now there's micro units. I don't know.
And then, yeah, so I just feel like, again, it's people are going to gravitate towards what can make them the most money. Finding a cave. I mean, look at this. I mean, everyone knows you can sell the drugs at Orinth pretty easily. But getting there is such a pain in the ass that people just don't want to deal with drugs at all. It's like, again, it's one of the, and now you're saying find a cave, just roam the planet till you find a cave so you can find 2 pieces of rock. And then, of course, after they explain all this and all this cave stuff, then they said, oh, just go to the asteroid. They got diamonds in them.
Yeah.
What do you think people are going to do? No one's going into a cave to mine. Everyone's going to go hang out in Yella and go to every single big thing, jump out and clown card themselves some diamonds.
I'm going in caves, dude. What are you talking about?
Unless they put the lava and those little creepers that are going to explode, I don't know if anyone's going to those.
But if we put the glow sticks, the creepers won't come.
Oh, you're right.
That's the whole point of the glow sticks, is to keep the creepers out. 5-head, dude. I got a big brain.
I'm just thinking, how long before they realize that Notch gets a whiff and starts suing too? That's a better case if they keep on this track.
Yeah. True.
Build the torches, have the diamonds dropped. If that diamond multi-tool comes down, they're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, so, like, I know we're joking a little bit here, but I really feel like the things that we're finding are going to have more of a use than to just sell. I think you're going to make a choice whether to keep them in your inventory and use them for something in the future, and then have the choice to sell them or not. So we'll see.
All right, and then to the thing about the ship rentals again, back to a thing now, like you were saying with the previous caller, the one thing I was just sitting there thinking, why did they not just adapt the CCU system that works on their site for the rentals? I mean, what if you sit there and instead of to save the price, I'll trade in that crappy Aurora for a Titan, get a little bit for a day, and then I get the Aurora back after a day.
That's easy. Well, I'll stop you there, because they don't want us, like, the everything they're doing is to get us off the website. They don't want to do ship sales long term, like all this stuff. They're not going to do work on a website when they know they want you to be able to rent and buy in game.
No. I don't mean like the doing it from the website. I'm saying using trade-in mechanic towards the rental price to lower the price. Where it's like, okay, I'll give you my Aurora, and I get this thing. I get to use a Titan. Instead of you having to spend so much, it's like, okay, that makes it more of a profit production thing. If you say, look, I'll give you my Cutlass so I can have a Prospector, you'll probably, that trade-in value and the decline in the price will make it so that then you could make some income from having a Prospector. It's not just okay, we'll do from this to this, and then you're renting a ship that the rental price eats, like you're never going to make that money back. It's always a loss, to rent. And I don't know if that's, again, I don't know. They'll have to adjust these things, but I'm just thinking there are ways to rent, because if you're renting a bitter ship, you're not using the older ship. You're might as well give it up for a day or a week or whatever.
And somebody mentioned this a while in the, like, when we first started discussing it on the stream today, is that obviously with a rental you don't have to deal with everyday maintenance type of stuff, but that's also not in the game yet. We have no idea how that may work. Like, remember how they showed us eventually your ship will look worn and beat up and all that, and swapping out components, and every time that you get a rental, I would imagine that it would be pretty fresh and good, but then you also have to maintain the ships that you own. So, all right, I'm like coming around to rentals a little bit, but yeah. All right, Bad Words, is there anything else you want to add before I bring in our next caller? Or actually, I'll go to a tweet.
Well, I guess two things. One was well, of course, back to the hard selling the Mantis. Like, I think we were was talking on Twitter about it.
Well, yeah, I made a tweet and saying, like, dude, they're selling this ship like it's got the cure for, like, immortality on it, like, or something. What is this shit? Just sell the fucking ship already.
I mean, I'm just sitting there. I'm like thinking about the intro to Spaceballs, where you just see the ship keep going for like 5 minutes, and you don't till you see the end of it. It's like, it's like, okay, we get it. It's a ship,
Like, and what I responded to people, because everybody's like, what the hell? They wouldn't do this unless it was something cool. I feel like. They didn't do this for other ships that they've sold recently, right? Like the Mine Layer, which I'm assuming they thought was pretty cool. I feel like there's something special with this. I don't know what it would be. Is it another ship that just has like some stupid gameplay with it? Like the Mine Layer? I hope not. I don't know what it would be. Like, they've done these kind of reveals things before, but I don't think to the ridiculous extent to what they're doing it now. So I don't know. They think it's cool. Like, that's all I know, is they definitely think it's worth doing this for. So I'm curious. Like, I'm intrigued. So I think they achieved their goal, where I usually can give two fucks about ships.
Yeah, I think it looks like, again, it looks like they hold out a constellation again, and I think the big problem is you're going to have a brand new ship that's going to inherit all the Connie's issues. Yeah. Again, it's going to have.
It just looks like a floating Connie cockpit.
I mean, the back tail looks like you can definitely, in the 3 dimensions, it looks like it's just the 2 engines on top are still there, and then the bottom is replaced by these weird manta things where when you landing gear down on the Connie and the front things slide forward.
Yeah.
It feels like they just took the bottom engines off of the Connie, which of course would be fine because those were the ones that were broken from gimbaling anyway. And my question is where the landing gear is now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's got nothing to do with 3.7 though, so let's move on from that one.
All right, and then the last thing is, it looks like
it might have nothing to do with 3.7. We don't know.
Yeah, it looks like they replaced hover mode with repulsor coils from Star Wars, where you're supposed to, if you're slow enough, you bounce off of things. And I don't think that, it's, again, I like the hover mode. I like the effort of why did they put all these things, the rocket things you can convert into. And also the thing is, if they got rid of hover mode, then why do they say there is a toggle for hover mode? obviously they didn't get rid of it because they, they VTOL is still there. So it's, and there's now going to be a button for VTOL. So I think that he is creating more confusion by the fact of what he said, because
Gotcha.
because you're like saying, okay, no hover mode, VTOL is now there, you can switch it, and then we have repulsor things. So why have VTOL if there's no benefit to it, unless you now just want, well, if you want
the benefits
cool,
to keep you floating. Like you said, the benefit would be your ships can't get off the ground or land successfully without using VTOL. So that's the point of swapping it between the two.
We'll see, but yeah, it's still one of those things of, I think that it's going to just the wording and the fact that they literally took that mechanic and still just refined one end, and then they got rid of another mechanic, but now they're saying they're two separate mechanics. I can see if they're saying they're two separate mechanics, but
when it comes to flight, dude, we just got to try it. Talking about it, listening to somebody talk about it, it's hard. It's too hard to comprehend without getting your hands on it. We all talked about hover mode beforehand, what we thought about it, and overall it wasn't terrible, but then it had its issues that made it horrible and a terrible experience. So,
I know, but I feel like this is going to change the discussion into, okay, hover mode had problems, to what is hover, or is this hover? I feel like they're redefining a definition instead of just, again, gameplay is going to mean everything, but
yeah.
It's going to be the debate of what is a hover versus assist. If we're still hovering, then it's hover mode.
I guess what I'm arguing is you can't have that debate until you've tried it.
I agree.
It's kind of like a don't knock it till you try it thing. Like, I feel like David Coulson is a smart dude, and I feel like he cares, and because of that, I'm willing to give him some time
leeway.
to, not leeway, but some, like, all right, we tried this, it was shit, we're gonna try another thing, it might be shit also. But I'm not going to sit here and debate whether or not, because of words that he said or a video that he showed without me actually trying to control my ship, whether or not it's shit. Right? I'll wait until I try it to decide whether or not it's shit. And then I'll say it's shit, or, okay, we're going in the right direction. So, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But, all right, bad words. Let me bring on, let me do a tweet, and then I'll bring on our next callers, because we're running over sort of now, but I actually have more time than I thought today, so we can do a bit of a longer episode. So
thank you.
No, thank you, man. You covered everything, and then more stuff that I forgot about, so I appreciate it. Talk to you later, dude.
Take care.
All right, so before we go to Traven, we're going to go back to ATC 17 and IDD. And he says, my expectations for 3.7 are the same as for 3.6 and 3.5, and all other patches, none. You can't be certain beforehand what's in the patch, and on top of that, it ranges between working well and completely broken. I judge a patch when it goes to live servers. That the ending part is fair, but you should be able to be certain now what's in a patch, because the roadmap should actually be accurate, right? The roadmap shouldn't be this thing where they're not, like, leading up to a patch, like maybe weeks before we see 3.7, we should have an idea of what 3.7 is going to be. Like, we haven't seen things move out of 3.7 for the weeks leading up to, like, since they've changed it, right? Since they've changed the staggered development thing. Like, everybody's laughing at me in Twitch chat, but at the same time, I believe, and I said it like a while ago on my weekend review video, I'm going to blindly trust them in this situation, and it might bite me in the ass, and I may be stupid, and many people called me stupid for trusting them, blah, 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 right? But for me personally, I believe what Aaron Roberts is saying here, that giving them that extra 3 months is enough time for them to actually realize what's going to be in a patch or not. So I'm confident that what we expect for 3.7 is going to be there, but how broken is it going to be? That's the part where can I trust them on that? I believe now that I can trust them that my expectations for 3.8 leading up to 3.8 should be realistic. Right now, we still haven't gotten to the point where they've had that go no go meeting about what's going to be in 3.8, right? That should be coming, in let's say about a month. A month from now, 3.8 should be pretty solidly picked out of what's going to be in it and what's not. So we'll see. The only problem with 3.8 is that CitizenCon gets in the way of that because they pulled devs off to make CitizenCon stuff. So I don't know, man. But let's move on to our next caller. We're going to go ahead and bring on Travin72. How you doing, dude? Travin, did we take too long and now you're not there? Possibly.
There you are. Sorry, I had you muted there.
Why would you have me muted, my beautiful voice?
I just had Discord in general muted.
Yeah, okay. Discord's, I could see that. All right, that's fair. That's fair. But all right, so what
How's
are
it
you
going, Salty Mike?
I'm not salty today. I'm feeling pretty sweet. So what are your expectations for Star Citizen 3.7?
Actually, the one thing I'm kind of looking forward to is the FPS mining there. One thing I'm kind of hoping for it is, right now, if you use your prospector, mine Laranite or whatever, you pick up quite a bit of garbage along with it.
Yes.
I'm hoping you can minimize the amount of garbage you pick up, and even though it'll take longer, you get a higher concentration of the minerals you're after.
Well, and what's even cooler is it doesn't go in the cargo hold of your prospector. So you'll still probably get the same number of undesirable material, but you'll get extra value out of every rock that you mine that have these little gems on them, right? So it kind of counterbalances.
Yeah, basically, it would be you spend more time on it, but you get less of the garbage, more of the...
Yeah. Well, I don't think you're going to get less garbage, though. Do you think that you're going to... Well, are you talking about just FPS mining in general? Like when you go up to a cave and break the rock?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Why do you have to pick up the garbage?
Just there isn't going to be any. It's just straight up gems. It doesn't look like there's any tailings, any wasted material. It just breaks up and there was all little gems on the floor. So what I thought you meant was that, all right, I'm flying around on my prospector at Yella. I found this sweet Laranite rock. Let me get out and see if there's any little gem nodes around it. Okay, cool. Get the gem node. And then for whatever reason that when you do go to mine the Laranite, that it'll be like more pure. I thought that's what you meant.
Oh no, I'm actually thinking about. I want this to kind of be more expanded to where you can do FPS mining on everything that you currently can mine. It just takes longer, but basically you don't pick up a lot of the garbage. You just pick up what. I mean, it could almost be like, hey, you know what? I have this. All I have is an Avenger Titan. But I got this handheld miner. I can go out and mine a little, but it'll take me a...
Yeah.
Plus, I'm also kind of wondering about the mission sharing. You said they had it working kind of for one mission.
Well, yeah, they said that they figured, and this was a while ago. This was like maybe a month and a half ago. That for one mission they were like, we think we got it working.
And they haven't mentioned anything about it since, have they?
No. So I don't know.
Yeah, this is the one thing I've always said about CIG. They tend to not divulge information for a larger wow factor later. It would not surprise me if they have mission sharing working for a large number of...
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that team, if they were making efforts towards it on one mission, that they wouldn't try to do it for as many missions as they could. Yeah, and Trevin, your audio's cutting in and out a little bit. If you can adjust, like, I don't know, if you're using push to talk, make sure you hold it a little bit longer, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm using push to talk.
Gotcha. But yeah, it seems like wouldn't that team continue to work on that if they broke through that barrier? I would assume that CR would instantly consider that a top priority, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you're going to have a team working on, oh look, we got mission sharing working, but we're only doing it for this one mission.
Yeah.
I can see Chris Roberts going, okay, how many missions do we have?
Yeah, do it for all of them. Let's go. Let's see how far we can take this. Like, that's where Chris Roberts is probably good. You know, where he has, you know, he demands certain level of work ethic, I guess, maybe. But yeah.
Yeah. I always tend to look at each patch with a degree of realistic optimism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want because you know we all want the game to succeed.
Yeah.
We want to see positive improvements.
Yeah.
But we know that anytime you add code into a game, there is a chance something else is going to get broken.
Of course. Yeah. I don't want to sit here and crap on it the whole time and be salty, negative about everything, but I try to be as realistic as possible about it. Like, obviously, they've added stuff. Some things are going to be broken. Some things are going to be unstable, and I'm sure we're going to go into caves and fall through them. You know, weird shit's going to happen, but I do really hope that, you know, the words that came out of Aaron's mouth end up being true this time around, where our quality of life, it should be improved.
Plus, you also mentioned about the harvestables.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I have no doubt that they have at least discussed, hey, wait a minute, if we can pick these harvestables, well, can we start making our own food? Can we start making this?
Yeah.
Can we make this? Yeah. Can we basically have a crafting system?
Yeah. And they never planned on having a crafting system, but now I'm not against it.
Yeah, the only kind of crafting system I've really ever heard of before was more like large-scale factory type stuff.
Yeah. And nothing since. So I'm curious if with the advent of procedural planets, owning your own land, what do you do with it? What do you do with it? Do you just have a house? That's silly, right? Having your own little factory and making stuff that you could use, that's like every MMO.
Yeah, it's every MMO has some kind of crafting, and I don't see why Star Citizen wouldn't employ that as well.
Yeah. But that's super off topic, I think. Well, not it is, but it is.
Well,
it is, but because the harvestables.
Well, I mean, it goes with the harvestables.
True.
Another thing I'm kind of looking forward to the harvestables is that it could be the beginning of the agriculture
farming
of agricultural gameplay.
Mm.
I mean, I know my favorite ship is my Endeavor, and I've got those biopods for it.
I can see this being the first steps to that for sure. But what do you do after you farm? Do you use it to create something, or do you use it to just sell? I find it super weird for a game like Star Citizen to just be selling. You know?
Well, I mean, right now that's all we're doing with the mining. We're mining and selling. Mm-hmm. So, but I see no reason why, sometime in the next, 6 months worth of patches, they might have us going, hey, wait a minute, you mined this. Well, why don't, instead of selling it to a broker, why don't you sell it directly to a company that's going to make it into something? And it could be the same thing with harvestables. you pick all this you pick these vegetables, fruits, whatever, and they're made into medicinal substances, salves and med pens and all that.
Yeah. True. I mean, I think we'll probably see, like somebody's mentioning it in chat right now, that we'll eventually see that with maybe the refinery system, and then we'll see where that goes. And if we ever have control of it ourselves, I don't know. It's curious. But Travis, is there anything else you want to add real quick? Because, of course, there weren't many callers early on, so I went on longer calls, and now there's a couple people left to go before I got to run.
Yeah, the only other thing is as far as like ship rentals go, I've got all my ships. I could care less.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's a lot of the people that are watching Star Citizen right now that are more. We've been around for a while. A few of us have quite a few ships, but a lot of people don't. So I see why people wanted rentals. And Travis, I'm gonna throw you in the caller dump, and I appreciate your call very much. Thank you. And I'll just kind of finish my thought there. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just have an Aurora and have been waiting to enjoy the game to start playing. So I see the value in rentals for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people hit a lot of points on it, and I get it. And I get where he's coming from too. Is I have a few ships that I enjoy, and I don't really feel like I need anything else because I have the miner and anything that can run cargo. So those are the two main gameplay loops right now. So I kind of have those covered, so I don't see a purpose for trying anything else that's new. But bringing in our next caller, Gamers Cafe. How you doing, Gamers? Just got to get your title up here.
Not bad.
So while I'm doing that, what are your expectations, man?
So I'm expecting 3.7 to be a little late.
Okay.
Maybe a week or so, just because of the fact that the staggered development was sort of halfway through this already. 3.7 to me is a bit of, this is what we can do for this patch. Let's throw that into a patch, and then 3.8, 3.9, 4.0 is the start of staggered development.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see true... I don't think we're going to see the most out of staggered development in 3.7. I think we're going to get it next year, probably, to be honest.
Yeah.
3.8 seems too many things pushed back into it.
Maybe. Yeah. So I was going to say, so I'm expecting it to be a little bit late. I'm sort of expecting it to sort of go wave 1, sort of mid to late next week, and then open to everybody the weekend after. I'm expecting caves. I'm expecting everything that the leaks Discord is showing us right now, which I'm
don't mention loving. Leaks, please. Fuck's sake. I say this every time.
I'm not gonna say what they're showing.
But you're saying where they are. It's the same fucking thing. Please don't do that.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry for getting mad, but it's like I point this stuff out. It makes it to the point where like I can't do shows like these if we're gonna do that stuff.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Sorry, I didn't know I couldn't say where they were. I just thought I knew I couldn't.
Oh yeah, that's a big part of it. Otherwise, I would say where they were too. And I want to honestly want to talk to a lawyer about that and see one day, but I don't care enough to ask.
Yeah, well,
there's a whole public domain thing with leaks that it shouldn't really be an issue, but they really kind of scare the shit out of us about it. And my account's too valuable to have it banned.
Yeah, I was going to say, look, at the end of the day, I'll talk to you off stream one day about this if you want. But
but I mean, obviously, I play an Evo, so I know everything. But...
Yeah, so I was going to say if I was in Evo, I would leave. But anyway, But what I was going to say was, as for that, I'm expecting caves. I'm expecting FPS mining. I'm expecting it to be somewhat basic. I'm expecting things to break. There's the typical sort of thing for Star Citizen. To be honest, I'm expecting it to be, this is the interesting thing. So they did a back-end update a couple of weeks ago, and there were a lot of problems with people connecting. A lot of people were getting 10.0.25 errors. I ended up finding out that you had to delete your shader folder to get into the game because they must have changed shaders or something like that. And as soon as you deleted that shader folder, you got in straight away. But when I jumped in, there was only 6 people on the server. And there was 6 people on there, including me, and FPS was insane. Nothing broke. There was no falling through rocks, falling through planets. The AI was responsive. The AI almost killed me over it. Poor Lazar. Sorry, SVK. So I'm expecting in 3.7 things to get not as good as it was for that, but getting towards that sort of thing as they keep bringing in server-side OCS.
Okay.
And I'm expecting, it's just, I'm expecting the Banyu Defender to make me go and cry because I'm going to spend more money because I really like that ship and I never brought it when it came out of concept. But yeah, it's just that there's
something you don't use.
I use everything. That's the problem. Yeah, I know. I got a spare arrow there, so I was actually saving the arrow so that I was actually going to buy the Mercury Star Runner with the LTIL and the arrow, but I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, it's no. Look, I'm actually looking forward to this patch. 3.7 was a little grim and bare. I think I spoke to you about this before.
Yeah, until they made the changes, right? Now it's like kind of exciting. Kind of.
Exactly, yeah.
With the caveats of obviously it's going to be a mess, because it always is, but what's there seems pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's sort of like, hey, Star Citizen just became Minecraft and No Man's Sky overnight. It's like, woohoo!
All right.
If you play No Man's Sky or Minecraft, or not Minecraft, but No Man's Sky, I've got the game. I played it for about 4 hours and I got bored because there's not a lot you can do. It's just the same sort of loop. But one of the benefits out of it that was really, really cool was the FPS mining. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, we're not going to have voxel planets like what they do in No Man's Sky, but that whole mining and getting resources so that you can then sell them or use those resources to later to build a base, for example. I like that idea. I like the fact that, I can have a Pioneer, I don't have one, but if I had one, sitting on the surface and I'm like, oh, damn, I might need more Laranite.
Yeah.
So here I go. I'm going to go and jump in my Prospector and I'm going to go and get some more Laranite. I'm going to bring it back to my base. I'm going to stick it into the Pioneer, and then I'm going to be able to build another hab. Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it, to be honest. As for the renting, I do have something to add on that. So while you were talking to Sunday, I did some checking, right?
Okay.
In Australia, we have a rental car company called Hertz, right?
We have it in the United States as well. I'm familiar.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So a Toyota Corolla in Australia to rent for a standard car is $154 a day. Now, we have a website in Australia called Redbook. I'm not sure if you guys do either, which actually lists the values of cars.
Wait, yours is called Redbook?
Yeah.
Ours is called Blue Book. What the fuck?
Oh.
That's so stupid. Right. Is it Kelly's Redbook?
No,
ours is called Kelly's Blue Book. For whatever reason, some guy named Kelly is the...
Okay, cool. It's probably the same guy that made both of them. But anyway, so... Redbook on ours for the same sort of car is $21,240.
Okay.
So roughly working it out, I think the difference is around 149% for the day value for hiring compared to what it costs to go through and to buy it. Sort of, that's that 149, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Factor. I have to work all that out. Yeah, I've been up for about an hour. But what I was going to say was, so I'm expecting ship prices to come down for renting. I'm expecting them to just do some balancing. Everybody that's getting upset at the moment because of the prices and stuff, I think that's a little bit premature. They're very much just, here's an example. This is, we're just testing the tech. We'll adjust the prices later. So I'm not worried about what people might be saying about the prices at the moment. Okay. But I would like to see the renting come down to sort of real world situations. So, for example, if a Prospector, for example, is $20,000, then to hire it, it should be around $150 a day. And that's what I'd like to see with the hiring, because that way, if you don't
But how much is it to rent like a moving truck or to rent like an excavator? I wonder if it's different because of the use of it and the risk of damage versus, well, I'm just gonna like. The last time I rented a car, and actually the only time I've ever rented a car, was when me and Sniffle Wizard went to the really big Florida Bar Citizen, the first one, like Xylo flew in to come to and everything. It was a lot of fun. Yep. I rented like an SUV, and him and I drove it, and it was like $30. But I just did that because it was like I don't want to drive my car this many miles and leave it up there. I'd rather just rent a car and do it that way. It's just better, I guess. I don't know. And I didn't know what I would need it for because I have a really small car. I have like a little Honda Civic, and maybe we needed more room. So, you know, that I don't know. So like a regular car versus a car that you use for like excavation, like a prospector. I wonder if the values would be a little bit different as well.
I'm trying to look that up while I've got you on the Discord, but it's.
Yeah, and it would take us too long to figure the numbers out anyway. The whole thing is like it still has to fit with the game, right? It still has to go, okay, you need to want to buy a ship over renting it because this is how we designed the game to be your upgrade path. Like in real life, you practice a skill, you get better at it, right? In Star Citizen, it's you practice a skill in real life and you get better at it, but it's not in the game. So the only upgrade path you have is your ships and obviously like some reputation stuff. But yeah, it has to be there. You know? I don't know.
I obviously look, this is something I'll look into and I'll probably send you the data later if you like. But I was going to say, but yeah, I that's an interesting point. I didn't think of that. But yeah, definitely, obviously you want. Yeah, it's comparable for an industry type.
Okay.
So I can check all that out and I can send you the data. But I was going to say, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's just I wouldn't worry about the prices that people are flipping out at the moment because they're just placeholders. It's just, you know, hey.
I love when people look at Evocati leaks and start having conversations about it. Like the whole point of it is to get feedback from people who actually want to give feedback and not listen to the idiots on Reddit that are leaking information that isn't ready for you to be consumed. And this is why there's an NDA and this is why it exists, is because of stupid shit like this. Always. There would never be an NDA if stupid shit like this didn't happen.
True. Just to give you an idea, a van, for example, for rental from Hertz is $73 a day.
Okay. And it was like 100.
What to buy
It was like 100 US, I remember the last time I moved.
Yeah. Like you can get like a
truck.
Like a minivan, for example. Like a van Toyota is like $100 a day. And I think they're about $30,000 to buy or something like that Australian. So
do you have stock in Hertz?
No, I don't know.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
But it's actually funny. The only time I've actually hired cars, it's actually never been from Hertz. But anyway, but I was going to say, but yeah, so I would like it to sort of match that sort of system where, you know, this is what happens in the real world. This is what happens because, for example, you might need to go and do a mission later when dynamic missions come through. It's like, hey, we need laranite. We need 100 cubic meters of laranite. And you're like, hey, I can do that in a day. I can, instead of just going out and buying a prospector, I can hire it for a day.
Yeah.
And
it's not the values of selling the actual product at a kiosk. It's a mission that was like, this person really needs it. Therefore, it's valuable for me to rent the prospector today. That's actually something nobody mentioned was, obviously there's going to be cargo running missions of some sort, right? And actually using ships that you don't own to do it. And like, I mean, even Luke has mentioned before that they would like to offer a prospector to you in that situation in some of the cases. Like, all right, we need this much laranite, and they would just give you a prospector to go do it.
Well, yeah, in the future.
But now they might not have to with the rental.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That we had with, like, for example, you know, she gives you the Cutlass Black. It gives you a Cutlass Black to go through and to do that mission. Well, in the future, maybe, hey, you don't need to actually give us the Cutlass Black. You can go and hire it for us. Or we have to go and hire it. And then if we don't return it in somewhat decent order, we have to pay a bond or whatever it may be. There's a whole bunch, especially with domains coming in later. I think it's in 3.9 for whatever it is now. That to go through and narrate mission based on what the actual AI needs. So, it'll automatically go say, hey, we need to build more medipens because ZDF has jumped in and brought all the medipens. So we need Laranite to make the cases for the medipens. So it'll then automatically populate a mission to go and get Laranite, for example.
Do you have stock in Laranite?
No, I don't have stock in that. I've seen what you're talking about with people in chat. Yeah, it's smart asses. But anyway. But yeah, so that's what I say. Like, why am I going to get banned from ATC?
You won't get banned. Only King Kirt can be banned. He literally took a shit on stream. That's the only way you can get banned from ATC.
Okay, Sniper hit me up in chat.
Yeah.
But that's what I'd like to see, and that's why I think these rentals and all that are going to become popular. Is like people, like you say, going to a different system and then having to the ships Stanton or so.
Yeah, and let me let you go, gamers, because obviously you're in Australia or in that region, and I'm here, so we're definitely having some connection problems between you and I on Discord. So I'll let you go. Thank you. And I would say the highlight would definitely be like the mission factor of like, oh, there's this mission that pops up. I could really use this ship to do that. So that would be like the argument for rentals. So thank you for that, and thank you for the real world aspects as well. That was really interesting. I'm happy you did that work. It was cool.
No, that's fine. I'll do some research into the whole truck thing, and I'll hit you back up with the stats and details.
For sure. All right, gamers. Talk to you later, bud. Bye now.
Bye.
All right, and now we're just bringing in Bellatar. What's up, Bellatar? How you doing?
Hi, Mike. I'm great. How are you?
I'm well. Let me switch the title here. What's your expectations for 3.7? High, medium? Do you not care?
It is. It is actually rather low, but not because of the features they announced. But they announced all these dev changes, this staggering thing.
Okay.
And I'm because I am unsure how long they've been doing this already. And whether it is actually already able to affect much of what is going into this patch.
Gotcha.
So I'm kind of in a position where I say, well, I don't have the information on whether all their dev changes will come into fruition already. So this is kind of a wait and see patch for me.
Okay.
To see how all their planned changes pan out, because I think it's quite a lot, the staggering dev.
Is it fair
approach is
is it fair to judge the staggered dev off of 3.7 though?
Yeah, that is exactly my question. I don't think it is.
Okay.
I think it's a rather big change, and it's a forward-looking change. So probably some things will have profited from that, some won't. So to reach a full judgment wouldn't be fair in my opinion.
Okay.
The other big change, meta change you could call it, I'm looking forward to, is that it seems they intentionally changed that approach of Die Hard Squadron 42 first, and then PU gets kind of the scraps, to this approach. We are actually trying to put the stuff into the PU that benefits the PU, makes it more fun experience, not just in regard to stability, but also in regard to features.
It's the way they fund Squadron 42 in the future, you know?
Yeah, that's
PU is
true.
their only advertising.
Yeah, I mean, it to me, I don't know whether it is just me. It seemed like a conscious change in approach they did for this patch when they announced those changes.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm also kind of wondering, if they are changing their approach in regard to that, whether that will have any effect on the speed of development of Squadron 42, whether that means whether they diverted resources away from Squadron 42 to enable that, so that they may have some kind of a negative effect on Squadron 42, which is then made up for by people enjoying PU more. I don't know, but these are all things I'm looking to see develop over the future now.
Me too. Yeah, I think it's with the shift in the way they do development a bit, even though they like I've heard the comments, they've been doing Staggered Dead for a long time, and it's like for certain features, yes, but now for all features they're doing it. So I don't know. It excites me in that sense. Like I guess the thing I'm most excited for is to see, like, when this thing goes live, is it a more stable experience? Are we going to see a lot of bugs fixed that we dealt with and actually fixed that we were dealing with over the 3.5 and 3.6? I would call it drought. I thought 3.5 and 3.6 were an absolute drought, and it was pretty rough to deal with. And I'm really curious to see, are we going to start seeing just more quality of life, and because I've said this many times, what's actually there in the game, like if you think of ship purchasing, mining, cargo hauling, going down and killing NPCs, fighting against other players, some bounty hunting against other player bounties. There's quite a bit of stuff there that you can enjoy yourself for that 3-month period if you're playing here and there. But the problem is that anytime you go and try and do any of it, there's some sort of game-breaking bug involved. Other than really cargo hauling is the only one that I haven't seen like a major game-breaking bug, unless you consider like a server crash a major game-breaking bug. Which obviously it is, but it is for everything. That's an overarching one. So I don't know. I think that's the thing I'm most excited for, is just to see what happens. It's got nothing to do with the actual gameplay or anything. It's just what happens next. Is this going to be a positive directional move, or are we still just going to be stagnant and bored?
Well, what we at least can say is they seem to have understood the issue. So
for sure,
the direction they are aiming is right, and I think the combination of what you said, in the sense of if everything that is implemented worked in a stable way,
or just better,
you would already have a really good experience. Then they are adding, I think those details they're adding are actually really good, and maybe not in the sense that those are the most intricate and worked out features of professions, but they give a lot of opportunity to create your own fun and content. If only I don't know, comms and the party system works in a stable way, there's so much you can do with that by creating your own gameplay. I think those caves and the FPS mining is something that is very interesting and fun probably to do. Maybe not something that everyone wants to do. Some people just want to, I don't know, fight or fly their ships. But it's a lot of variety.
Yeah.
And in that regard, if they actually manage to deliver on making everything that making everything that is in game stable and performant, then it's actually pretty good, and as you said, will last us for 3 months to have fun with it.
Yeah, I mean the big thing for me is if everything that they implement is going to be tier 0, it should be implemented cleanly. Is kind of my expectations. Because obviously we're gonna have we're gonna have bugs. Not everything's gonna work perfect, but 3.5 and 3.6 were and they were awful experiences. I don't know how to describe it any other way. I don't think I've had a more awful experience in Star Citizen. And like we could talk about low frame rates, all these things, and maybe it's just my short memory. I don't know, but I just think 3.5 and 3.6. I think because of the expectations that I had for that, and with the way that they were doing development, feature based, and that if a feature wasn't working, they were going to pass it on. I had these expectations for those patches and quality of life to always be a little bit better. So if I was experiencing a bug in 3.5, I always was like, all right, there's a good chance that bug won't be there in 3.6. And maybe that's just unrealistic of me, but that's the expectation that they set for me. And again, I've said this a few times. Maybe I'm just an idiot. I don't know. But those are the expectations that CIG set in my mind of how I should expect the patch cycles to go. Is that if I deal with shit in 3.5, I should be dealing with it at the very least different shit in 3.6. And then different shit in 3.7. But we've had these bugs just consistently, and game-breaking bugs for far too long.
Yeah. Maybe what contributed to that was that they did some major changes, especially flight model and hover mode.
Could be.
And those didn't work out too well with the community. If the flight model had been amazing and everybody jumped into dogfighting, had fun with that, it might have been a totally different tune.
Yeah.
But that didn't quite work out. And I mean, it is to be expected. It was a huge change, and it is iterative and agile development. So you just have to roll with the punches and just improve it as they're doing now.
Yeah.
But as there was not much else to have fun with, that led to the situation you described. So I agree on that.
Yeah, and I'm just looking forward to seeing some change in that. And they did. They recognized it, they addressed it, and I'm very excited to see over the next 6 to 9 months how that shift really changes our in-game experience. And it starts with 3.7 very slightly, and then more so in 3.8, and then it should be in full gear in 3.9. So
one thing I'm a little bit worried about, maybe, but that is just pure speculation. I hope they don't overshoot their corrections and changes in regard to proximity assist, that they swing too far back into this arcadey flight model where you can just point your ship with your nose down in atmosphere and stand still.
No,
which I didn't like.
It may be that way in 3.7, but it is. This is the logical step to get away from that. They've always said that that's the direction they're going. They're getting rid of it. You have to. You can't put your nose down. The goal was always to get rid of that. So you may not like what you see in 3.7 right away, but you have to remember that the expectations for 3.7's like hover mode, proximity assist thing, you have to have in your mind that this is step 1 of 2 to get away from that. It didn't make it in, and instead of pushing it in like they've done it in previous patches, they said, we'll see you in 3.8. So
I think one thing that might turn out as a little bit of a I don't know how to call it, of taking away the fun of those caves, which I actually really like. I think it's very, very interesting. But I think in the current iteration, caves can only have one entrance, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And this might lead to some heavy camping, in the sense of why would I bother going down in this cave and gathering up all those diamonds and harvestables when I can, as a pirate, just hover above the single entrance, kill whoever comes out with a single shot, collect their inventory, and then make away with it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's an option.
That's a good point, where it... I think the whole thing is all right, if I have the stuff in my inventory, does it drop when I die? That's something we don't even know yet.
Yep. I could at least grieve. Maybe I can't loot, but there's enough idiots who will just sit there all day to make everybody else's day miserable. So, I mean, that's also it's tier 0. It's to be expected, and that will if it happens, it will be iterated upon. But that might be a little bit might dampen fun a little bit with those caves.
True.
But otherwise, I'm kind of, well, in summary, I'd say everything that they're planning to do, either the direction of development or the features, I'm very much looking forward to. It now only depends on the delivery.
Yeah, it seems like they got the right thing in mind, right? They're going through the right thought process, and let's just hope they deliver on it. But all right, Bellatar, we're super over time, so I guess your final thoughts here.
Just the final thought, I think, to pick up from that last comment of yours, every time that there was some kind of information draft and the community went a bit wild and salty, and then when the next big communication came in the form of pillow talk or whatever, I always went away from that thinking, okay, they know the issues.
Yeah.
They do have a plan. They're aiming in the right direction. I never went away from that thinking, oh, what the fuck are they doing? They don't know what they're doing. Everything's going to crap. The delivery sometimes sucks. The information, how they handle the information towards the community also sucks sometimes. But I always went away from that thinking, okay, they know what they're doing. They have the right thing in mind. Let's just give them 10 more years and it will work out. You know?
I always assume that they know more than I do, but I also remember that they got themselves stuck in this ship funding development thing, and it really does it's one of the things that have caused the most issues. I'm curious, like, if they just did their one Kickstarter campaign, never took any money after a certain date, I wonder where we would be. I know we wouldn't have the game that we have today, because it's a blessing and it's also a curse. And 3.5 and 3.6, those are the days that it felt like a curse. I'm hoping the first day I go into a cave, and knowing that we would have never had that if they didn't wildly sell giant spaceships that are years from getting into the game, that I would never see. You know, so I try to take the good with the bad.
I wouldn't change it. So
I wouldn't change it for the world either. I agree. I would be curious what game we would have. Would it be Rebel Galaxy, or would it be Elite Dangerous?
I think it would be just that, and everybody would be bored after half a year.
Yeah, maybe. And because obviously it would be an MMO, and that changes things. But yeah, it's I try, like I said, I just try to take the good with the bad and roll with the punches, and just hope the next patch is going to be better than the last one. And I think for the first time in a while, that maybe my positive attitude towards the next patch will actually be warranted. Where 3.6, it just didn't do the 3.5 and 3.6 just didn't do the job, unfortunately. So. Yeah, man. But all right, Bellatar, I guess I'll let you go, and we'll say goodbye to everybody for the day. And another successful Answer the Call that started off extremely slow and ended up being really, really awesome. So thanks, Bellatar. I appreciate it. A great ending to a really good episode. Talk to you later, man. All right, guys, that is going to be that for Answer the Call. Thank you so much for everybody watching. I can't go later because of my. I mean, maybe I could on certain days, but for the live show, I'm starting to think that, like. And let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll put a vote up on the YouTube channel or on Twitter. Maybe Twitter, because then we can get the people in Twitch chat and people on the YouTube comments. Should I do an Answer the Call on, like, U.S. evening times every once in a while? I've been debating this for a while. To just do a random Answer the Call at a time where, like, we can get late night EU people and like mid-afternoon to evening NA people and see what their thoughts are. I think, and this has been mentioned in the comments before, that we always get just European callers for the most part, very few American callers, and it would be nice to get kind of some variety and it's just different voices, different thoughts. I mean, that's the whole point of the show, right? Would be to get, because we get Australia and we get Europe at this time slot, like late Australia and afternoon EU. I'd be curious to see what some Americans would do. So, like, maybe some, like, midweek episode one time, just randomly, once a month, twice a month. Maybe I stagger my Answer the Call development as well. So yeah, we'll see. But Gamers says check Discord. All right. Oh, so he's kind of giving the example. So a Toyota van is $34,000, and to rent it's $80 per day. The Prospector is $1.62 million, and the van is $34,000. The rent of the van is 80, so therefore the prospector should be 37,000 per day. If you use that as your going route, but I don't know, because you can in a prospector you can get that in one trade hall, right? Where maybe that's the point, right? Should it just be one run? Is what you should be renting for? I guess that's the question. So yeah, I don't know. Or should it really incentivize you for short-term renting to just buy the ship if you're going to use it long-term kind of thing? Short-term, sure. Long-term, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's an impossible question to answer, is the renting one. But anyway, guys, yes, we've gone way too long. Let me wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that stuff. Weekend review coming out tomorrow for all the news that happened this week. Obviously, except for the leaks, I won't have that in there. And I will see you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow on YouTube. I'll see you guys tomorrow on Twitch as well. So goodbye, everybody. Have a good one.